peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all of you, wherever you are watching from, in conjunction with Punchline Africa Television. The Legacy Trend would like to bring a summary of achievements, a summary of obstacles, a summary of the way forward as far as the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is concerned. First of all, I would like to thank everybody, the millions and the millions of people who have read our website since inception 3 years ago. I want to thank my team across the country of the Republic of Kenya for the tenacity and the steadfastness that we have continued to document, to express, to defend, to secure, and to tell the truth of the legacy, the achievements, and above all, to protect the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Our materials are very abundant. We have written a plethora of information that can be got on our website. We have done defense. We have protected. We have discussed. We have done social media rebuttals against those who malign the name of the president, belittle the name of the president, injure the name of the president, besmirch the name of the president of the Republic of Kenya. We want to go on record that President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is a Pan-African president, loved by many and millions of Africans across the globe. Loved by people in the Caribbean. Kenya stands high in the world politics, plays a geopolitical situation, focus point. Kenya has taken part in the peace processes across the Great Lakes region of Africa. Kenya is a vital point for every peaceful way of resolving issues where you can start from. From 2018, when President Uhuru Kenyatta decided to have a handshake with the opposition leader, His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga, the political situation and the peaceful tranquility that we see in Kenya has continued to be. From the time the handshake took place, the people of Kenya have felt safe. The people of Kenya have worked, talked, walked, discussed without destruction of property. But as we approach 2022, there seem to be difficulties. There seem to be those who are bent, who would like to deconstruct the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. There seem to be people paid to destroy the name, the legacy of the family. There are people who have been given instructions to discuss even the dead. What has prompted me to issue this statement this morning is, in African culture, we don't discuss the dead. We don't insult the dead. We don't talk about the dead people, insult them, abuse them while they are not here to answer. I was taken apart yesterday when a few elements of the wing of Dr. William Ruto, who has continued to oppose the president, who has continued to hire people to insult the president, who has openly come out to rebut the president, who has diluted the office of the presidency, came out on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, discussing individuals who are not here and individuals who have died. It is sad in Africa if this is the culture of people that we are growing, that we are thinking we shall live a generation of individuals who have been hired to molest the names of the family of the President of Republic of Kenya, including people who have died over 30 years ago. This has prompted me to come up to protect the legacy. In protecting the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta, I will be looking at the following points. One, the politics of the legacy. Under the politics, we shall look at the BBI, succession, unity or purpose. Two, the 2022 elections. The IEBC. Have we mixed the old wine with the new wine? The Bible says they cannot work together. Everybody who is a Christian here will tell you that it is difficult to put a new patch on an old patch. One of them will catch or destroy the other. I want to make my position clear that if I were a Kenyan, and those listening to me who will take this step, if I were a Kenyan, I will not allow Chebukati to charge my vote. If I were a Kenyan, if I had the powers of turning myself into a Kenyan, the first thing to do was to go where possible to remove Chebukati from handling the next elections. I will explain why. If President Uhuru Kenyatta wants a legacy, he must conduct the elections of 2022, not him conducting, but to make sure that there's a peaceful election for the people of Kenya. There is ample time for the people of Kenya. There is a lot of things for the people of Kenya. There's a lot of things for the people of Kenya to make sure that they are prepared for a free, transparent elections. Less than that, I'm not part of it. The 2022 elections, if they are held the way under the conditions that I have told you, that I would not like Mr. Chebukati and the 3 commissioners, it is a terrible mistake for the people of Kenya to accept that a commission that led to nullification of an election because it did not know where they lost, where they put the ballot spoiled paper, is going to conduct another election. If that is the way you want, it is up to you, Kenyans. The third strand of the legacy trend, I will touch on the judiciary. The way the judiciary has captured the state power, the way the judiciary has operated, the way the judiciary has become civil society activism that has been imported, turning some members of the judiciary to be rogue judiciary. A biased judiciary that has stopped the people of Kenya, that has gagged every movement in Kenya, that once you do anything in Kenya, whether it is good or bad, someone will end up in court and block you. Is that the treasury, the judiciary that people want? Another strand that the legacy trend would like to talk about in this briefing is corruption. The fight against corruption under the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta went a notch higher. We appointed a new DPP, appointed a new DCI, appointed a new commission of EACC. How much has been done? What frustrations have come as a result of the issue of corruption? Is corruption at the center of every quarrel that we see in Kenya? The answer is yes. When people were told to change their behavior, self-style audit, a self-audit as instructed by the president. From that day, things went differently. One branch of the government of Republic of Kenya started using its own manifestations, its own thinking capacity to try to bring obstacles, talking about legalities that stopped the EACC to conduct a life audit style. We failed to have a life audit style because one side of the government led by the President William Samoei Ruto decided to oppose the lifestyle audit. Why? The Kenyans know exactly. Under corruption, lots of things have happened. The anti-corruption bodies have collected a lot. They have tried to bring cases to the court. The DCI has tried to make sure it arrests most of the people. Things have not worked as we wanted. But the fight against corruption, to some extent, as Miriam will bring it out to us, the figures, if you can look at the figures, there's some success so far, and there is a new direction. And the legacy trend says, yes, let's push it from there. But let's get the bigger fish than the smaller fish. Let's change the law Another thing that I would like to touch on is the economy. The legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta has created lots of institutions, lots of incentives to the younger generation, created youth organizations for people to borrow money from. The SMEs that are dotted across, my team has documented quite a lot of activities that you can go and borrow, plus the CDF, plus other outlets where money reaches the common person. Therefore, the doctrine of empowerment of the people. What is empowerment? You empower people by giving them alternatives, not empowering people by giving them wheelbarrows. Wheelbarrows are slow movers, like where they were, they remain in the same place. But empower people by giving knowledge. President Uhuru Kenyatta has given impetus to education, has pumped money into the educational institutions, has uplifted institutions, has made it very clear that there must be money available, has removed bottlenecks to students who have borrowed held money, higher education loans, has given grace period under this economic hardships of COVID-19. That is an achievement. I want to tell you that some of the agencies have collapsed. Some countries have collapsed. Yesterday I read a report, Miriam, you saw. HH in Zambia inherited a treasury that was empty. So you ask where the money went. My viewers, Kenya has tried to make sure that the economy does not sink. There is nowhere in the world that you cannot borrow. My other strand, which we shall discuss at length, is the question of achievements. The legacy trend says President Uhuru Kenyatta on the question of achievements, the goals of his legacy. I will give the overall mark on health care, food security, infrastructure, and housing. On food security, we seem to have moved a notch a bit higher than where we were before the declaration of the Big Four agenda. At least people have realized that farming and agriculture, going back to the farms, can generate quite a lot of money instead of looking for white-collar jobs. The incentives for going back to the farms is available. The blueprint papers on the Ministry of Agriculture and other strengthening the agriculture sector, lining it up and panel beating it, like the coffee trade, the coffee sector, the tea sector, the cotton sector, the sugar sector, which has not been completed, has not been done properly because of the politics involved of 2022. Across Kenya, viewers, as I come to a conclusion, you look at infrastructure. And as I speak, I think you can look at the infrastructure in Mombasa, for example. President Uhuru Kenyatta has really gone to a place, has gone miles and miles away from 1963 to today to prove to the world that things can be turned and they can be done. In Mombasa, for example, the whole city is being dug out, made afresh. Around the coastal areas as you drive in, good roads have come up. Fantastic roads inside in the hinterland of Kenya. These have created a credit for His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and his legacy on infrastructure still stands. On the question of COVID-19, the President will leave a legacy for Kenya being one of the best models of combating COVID-19 to avoid the scenarios that we saw in America and the scenarios that we saw in India. Credit goes to the President, credit goes to the infrastructure, buildings, to the doctors, to the Ministry of Health, and to the other institutions that have helped. On the question of international relations, His Excellency the President, under the legacy trend, the banner is lit with so many achievements, so many people coming to invest. President Uhuru Kenyatta has sold Kenya worldwide. Almost every part of the world, someone knows Mombasa, someone knows Nairobi, someone knows Kenya. In summary, therefore, what are the obstacles? The obstacles, number one, in politics. The divisions created by the Deputy President William Ruto is an obstacle. If people are not telling the truth, I am laying it bare. I've seen many friends, people who are talking about, yesterday I was ashamed about Reverend Dr. Ogide of Citicam. He's one of those who has been advocating for peace, but is one of those also rumored to be part and parcel of some of the clergy who want money. The church in the legacy has not played its important role. The church has let down the people of Kenya. Time has come for us to say it as it is. I want to give credit to the mosques, to the Muslim community in Kenya, for the support, for standing firm to put the legacy of His Excellency the President as a torchbearer towards in their mosques. Miriam, you realize, all of you, the panel, we realize that the Muslims don't allow politicians to come and politic in the mosques. I am impressed. This is a credit we must give. There are no Muslims MPs going to the mosque every Friday to make politics to insult Uhuru Kenyatta. But our churches, we Christians, bishops, provosts, I used to go to All Saints, but I can't go there because there's a provost there called Wainaina, who has become a hustler. He is a member of the hustler group. The provost of All Saints Church in Kenya, in Nairobi. You can't even talk anything with him. He talks of Ruto from morning. You can't pray. I want to thank the Muslims for being honest. They have not allowed people to play politics in the mosques. This time it is us Christians who have let down the president by allowing people to pulpit, to come and insult people, by allowing people, to the dead people who have died, to use the dead people and even have a culture of insulting dead people. In Africa, we honor the dead people. The question of succession and the BBI, therefore, drive to the question of unity. The unity of purpose that President Uhuru Kenyatta wants to leave as a legacy. Will he achieve the unity, yes or no? My submission is, if he doesn't have the unity, then let him, while in power, force the unity. I'm sorry. Force the unity. Use the instruments constitutionally to make sure that the president leaves a united Kenya. If you want a united Kenya, force it. Because it looks like someone has poisoned everything, everybody. Even the fishes in the water seem to be poisoned. That when you do something very good, nobody sees it. When the train was coming, someone poisoned people to go to court, paid people to go to court to make applications so that this train does not reach Nairobi. Today, you see all of them, all of us opening our teeth, going down to the radio stations, busy to fly, to ride on a train that we did not want to come to Kenya, to Nairobi. Is this the Kenya that we want? The BBI was the best solution. Redemption strategy was the best solution, Miriam. But this redemption strategy seemed to have been maliced by Ruto's group. Ruto openly bragged and celebrated when the BBI was thrown out by judges that he has one of the people that who told me that he paid them to write the rulings. It is sad. Therefore, if Kenya is left without a unity of purpose, is a negative in the legacy. On the question of elections, Miriam, I am totally opposed. And I've told you. On the question of elections, I'm totally opposed to the Electoral Commission. And you cannot hold an election which will not be worth it. Will there be an election worth it? In 2022, the answer to me is no. As long as Mr. Chebukati is the man manning this election, people will still contest and fight. Therefore, for me, I want to speak openly that on the question of 2022 elections, time should come when Kenyans should give themselves ample time for people to correct the mistakes. Correct the mistakes that were there in 2017 and are still there. As long as those mistakes are still there, there will be no free and fair election in Kenya. On the judiciary, it's time for Kenyans to stand up and call it a day. If there was a section in the Constitution that allows the president to sack all the Kenyans, to remove the judiciary and reconstitute it, it would be better. That's my submission on the judiciary. On the question of corruption, I submit that the Kenyans change the law If Kenya wants to stabilize, let it change the law on corruption. That you can't steal money and then go enjoy it on Tuesday after you have been in jail on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you are produced in court. Then you are gone off to the island of Mauritius. You are enjoying the same money you stole. Stringent measures, the constitution must change to catch the people who steal the money. On the question of economy, the president has done very well under the circumstances of COVID-19, and the legacy seems to be on course to complete some of the projects. Those that are not completed can be completed by the next government that Kenyans will choose. But he has laid firm groundwork. If you look at the Nairobi area, if we can have every 5 minutes a plane landing at Jomo Kenyatta Airport, a tourist coming to town delivered 10 minutes. 10 minutes in Westlands, 10 minutes in CBD. Does his books his hotel, does a lot of work, can extend time to stay in Nairobi. But why most of the people are running out of not arriving is the traffic. But the president has gone out of his way, out of injections from court, out of stoppage of the whole road not to be dug at all, to make sure that the road is done and the roads are done. Well done, Mr. President, on the question of infrastructure. I now come down to put finally my percentage on politics. The president has done 46%. He has done 46. I think Miriam actually 54%, not 46. 54%, but the rest 46 is lacking. On the question of judiciary, the legacy finds out that the government did its level best. The legacy did 60% to make sure that it keeps off. He would have done, other presidents in the world, Miriam would have just come and say, no, watch out, let's just have a war. But 60%, I give him a mark there. On corruption, the president has fought 47%. The legacy finds out 47%. On infrastructure, the president scored 87%. On COVID-19, the president scored 76% on COVID-19. The handling, the administrative structures, the fight back, the strategies put, the protocols put, the lockdowns, even if it is hurting he hammered 76%. On economy, the president has steered very clear that Kenya does not fall. He got 52% compared to the British American economies, where you have almost 48, you don't know. To sustain the economy under the pandemic, we got it. On food and security, the president has got 68%. Food security. Of course, on COVID-19, it includes health care. They did very well on that one. Not huge numbers of people have died, as predicted by people who never liked us, who never liked the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. On international relations, the president has done 87% in making relationship, Kenyan relationship, work with other countries in Britain, in America, calling investors to come to Kenya. He's done 87%. International relations. In the regional cooperation, the legacy found out that 61% is what Uhuru has injected in. Of course, in international relations, you find that Kenya was elected on the Security Council and African Council, Peace and Security Council. Miriam, therefore, these are some of the highlights of the last quarter of where we shall be improving, where the president needs to improve is the question of strengthening the politics. The politics of Kenya needs to be strengthened. It has to be strengthened. One way or the other, you can't leave a nation without unity. I submit.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. You've really outlined a very detailed, information on what President Uhuru Kenyatta has been doing in the government of Kenya in line with his legacy. And all of this are pegged on his Big Four agenda. And also we know that unity of this country is something that has been of concern for President Uhuru Kenyatta, that necessitated him and opposition leader Raila Odinga to have a handshake. I don't even know if I need to bring people to discuss this, because I think you've really elaborated so much on this. So, but perhaps Samuel Tawish is here and might want to add a thing or two, but I think everything up there is really well explained. Samuel Tawish, do you have anything that you would wish to add to what Dr. Matsanga has said?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu. Thank you, Dr. Masanga. And it's been a very good program, only that I joined a little bit late. But again, looking onto the submissions made by Dr. David Masanga, indeed, you will make a conclusion that maybe there's nothing you can quite add. Because in terms of content, in terms of the highlights that is put forth, indeed, that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta has been able to achieve. Miriam, we need to underscore one very important thing, and this is what Dr. Masanga has been emphasizing on all along: the unity of purpose. Because there can never be a greater achievement for any country. There can never be any greater development for any country, even if it's economic development, whatever it is, if it's about empowerment of the people, without the unity of purpose. And I think that is why President Uhuru Kenyatta found it fit really to have a handshake with his brother Raila Amolo Odinga, the opposition leader, because again, he knew in as much as he had sound policies for this nation, in as much as he had a greater agenda for this nation, in as much as he had laid down his legacy or what he wanted to achieve in form of the Big Four agenda and other developmental projects, the bottom line remains, Miriam, that you cannot achieve this without the unity of purpose. That is why you see President Uhuru Kenyatta reached out to Raila Amolo Odinga, they shook hands, and it brought about peace, stability, and tranquility in this country. That is why the president has been able really to achieve what he has done for the last about 4 years or so in his second term. That is not to say that the president hasn't achieved anything in his first term. Of course, there was that squabble and so much attention by his deputy in his ambition to become president in 2022. And also there was a shifting of attention in terms of stealing of public resources that was being orchestrated by Deputy President William Ruto. So I think when Raila Odinga came on board and shook hands with President Uhuru Kenyatta, they tightened the noose and made it difficult for Deputy President William Ruto to continually steal from the public. That unity of purpose has seen President Uhuru Kenyatta achieve. Look at the roads, for example. Dr. Masanga has highlighted. Hundreds of kilometers of roads have been constructed, Miriam. Look at the ports, for example, in Lamu. Look at Kisumu, what has been happening, and so many of other developmental projects, the housing project, and so many other. On the healthcare front, you've seen. I mean, today, Miriam, if you went looked around, there's a lot that has been achieved. That essentially tells you that for any nation really to grow, for any nation to prosper, peace is something that is inevitable. It must be pursued. It does not matter at what cost. And I think that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta made in form of a sacrifice. But indeed, he was re-elected as president. But again, there was that political confrontation between himself and the opposition. But reaching out to the opposition has made it easy for him to actually smoothly run the affairs of government, to be able to implement his manifesto and the pledges he made to the people of Kenya. So moving forward, what is it that we need? I mean, there's a bigger focus in as far as 2022 general election, Miriam, is concerned. But again, we should not be in haste. We should not be in a worry to go into 2022 general election as though it's a do or die, as though it is something that is fixed in the calendar, something that cannot be readjusted if certain things have not been corrected. For example, we'll talk about IEBC. Are we ready to conduct the 2022 general election, for example? As a country, as a people of this nation, I believe we are not yet ready to conduct that election because IEBC is not prepared. Look into the political atmosphere that we have in the country. Is it conducive enough to guarantee a free, fair, and credible election, one in which people will shake hands, those who will win and those who will lose will say it was a very good and a fair game by the end of the day? I don't think we are already there. The attitude and the groundwork that politicians are laying today is a recipe for chaos, and I think we need to go back to the Building Bridges initiative, an approach for a redemption strategy where the people of Kenya can understand that election is just but part of a democratic process where they go to the ballot, elect the leaders who are going to represent them in government, but not a contest where people want to slay others, people bay blood of their brothers and sisters, that we are going to go into anarchy, killing one another. Today, we may be living in peace, but when elections beckon, we go into war. Miriam, I do not think that is what Kenyans really want, and that is what should be discouraged. But in a nutshell, I really love Dr. Masanga for the submission he has made. We need to continually highlight for those who cannot see or hear what President Kenyatta has been able to achieve. I think Punchline Africa TV is a platform that has offered this so that people of Kenya can understand continually what the president has been doing all along. Thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu and Dr. Masanga. I submit.
Thank you, Samuel Tawish. Doc, back to you in case there's anything else you need to add. From my side, I think everything is clear. I don't think...
Medium, it is very, very clear that we have those... If there is any Kenyan or anybody who feels that those are not the issues that the government has been grappling with, maybe can add on to us what we have said. But we have laid it. The obstacles are very clear. These are the things we are going to continue to advocate in our engagement up to the end, to see that finally we again give you another report in 3 months' time. How far we have gone, how far we have raised. And these are some of them. What can be done? What can the government do? What more? What do people say on the ground? Look at Mombasa, it's changed. Look at all your places. Near you, there is a construction of a dam, a construction of a road, a construction of a farm. That's a development itself. If we had avoided divisive politics that Kenya always finds itself before and during and after elections. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that is where we end this conversation on the legacy trend that has been led by Dr. David Masanga. Doctor, thank you so much. Samuel Tawish as well. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching. I'll see you later here with the latest from the continent of Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Towards realization of the grand vision of better infrastructure, the government is soon commissioning operations of the Port of Lamu in June 2021. 3 of the 32 berths of the port have been completed, and it's expected that Lamu Port alone will handle up to 24 million tons of cargo annually when fully completed. Lamu Port construction is part of the $25 billion Lamu Port, South Sudan and Ethiopia Transport Corridor project, also known as LAPSSET. The transformative Lamu Port project was officially launched by the Government of Kenya in March 2012, and its construction continues in earnest. Commissioning of the Lamu Port will play a significant role in the next phase of Kenya's socio-economic growth. The soon-to-be operationalized port will continue to modernization of Kenya's infrastructure and boost communication and transportation, which are some of the key pillars of Kenya's dominant position in Eastern Africa. The Government of Kenya has committed to expanding Kenyan road and rail network to better open the country for trade and also to cement Kenya's position as a regional transportation and communication hub. As the Government of Kenya strive to bring the country into a new realm of increased economic growth and raise the living standards for the population, many infrastructural projects have been commissioned. President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained instrumental in championing for a new chapter of Kenya's infrastructural development, and that is why the mega LAPSSET project is gradually becoming a reality despite the challenges the project has faced. LAPSSET is one of Kenya's flagship long-term infrastructural development programs under the country's Vision 2030 and the infrastructural development pillar under the Big Four agenda. Through its multiple infrastructural components, including the 32-berth Lamu Port, regional highways, rails, oil pipelines, and refineries, as well as resort cities along the corridor, the mega project is projected to become a major contributor that will take Kenya's annual gross domestic product, that is the GDP growth, to more than 10%. The LAPSSET project will not only become one of Kenya's revolutionary infrastructural development projects in the country's recent history, but also contribute to realization of African Union's vision of integrating the continent for regional trading by 2063. The government of President Uhuru Kenyatta has remained committed into bringing the LAPSSET grand vision into a reality. The project bears heavily on the president's ambition to modernize Kenya's infrastructure to cement Kenya's position as transport and logistics hub in East Africa and the Horn of African regions. To hasten the realization of the benefits of the Lamu Port initiative, the government has been upgrading and constructing roads that connect the port as the regional hinterland encompassing Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Uganda. The port will also connect Kenya and the regional hinterland to some other 300 ports globally. The initiative of the Port of Lamu is also expected to create many jobs domestically, including jobs in fishery, manufacturing, logistics, trade, agriculture, and commerce.